Hello everyone, welcome back to this new video. In this video I'm going to show you how I make my thumbnails recently for DayZ, and I would like to make a second part on how I make thumbnails for PUBG and maybe even for Battlefield 6, but depends if I'm going to play that loads. But firstly, I'm going to show you guys how I do it for DayZ, because some things changed since the last time I made my thumbnails. DayZ editor has been updated, some things have been moved around and have been removed. And as you can see already on my desktop, this is one of my thumbnails. I make thumbnails with faces now. Here's a couple examples on screen, and I'm gonna exactly show you how I do it. Yeah, let's start with the first thing. We need to download DayZ Editor. If you haven't already, link will be down in the description. And I would say follow the process of downloading it. If you don't know how to download it, there will be another video in the top right corner you can click on. It's the first guide that I showed it in on how you could download it. I'm not going to show it all again in the controls and stuff, but I'm going to show you my whole process on how I do it, and mostly more on how I do it in Photoshop. So you need DayZ Editor and you need Photoshop or something that's close to Photoshop that you can use. There's lots of free versions. You can search it up on the internet. So yeah, once you got that and you got DayZ Editor downloaded, make sure to run DayZ. But first you gotta open Steam, of course. And we'll open up DayZ, check in the parameters if you don't have the command line checked. Then load all the mods you want, like all the assets, like all the clothings or all the custom weapons. And which map, of course. For our example, we're gonna use the mask. We just type in the mask, and if you don't have the mod, make sure to download it in the Steam Workshop. Right, you can do it right here. Just check the mods you want to load with DayZ Editor. You gotta check DayZ Editor as well. Otherwise, it's not gonna. Yeah, you're not gonna run DayZ Editor. Click on play. This will boot up DayZ Editor for you if everything is alright. If you've done everything alright, give it a second. And then we come over here where we can select our map. We'll go for the mask, right? Because that's the map we selected in the mods folder. But we could also have clicked on any of the other maps that were there. And then we're in the mask. In the other tutorial, the first tutorial made about this, I also showed you guys on how the controls work. So I assume you know how it works, but if you don't, feel free to let me know down in the comments, of course. But once again, top right corner, there's the video that shows you the basic controls. But let's find a cool place to make a screenshot from, right? What I like to do now... Oh, this is actually perfect. This is perfect. You got the shadow here a bit from the trees, and then it opens up in the distance, right? You got the mountain. What I like to do is I like to make 3 pictures. 1 picture of the background, 1 picture of a gun that we want to show up in the thumbnail, and 1 picture of myself, because I make thumbnails with my face in it now. And that makes it so it's easier to move around the elements so that it fits in the thumbnail and resize it. Instead of having to do it all from 1 picture. If I would take a picture of just only a background and a gun in one screen, I can really... It's really hard to move around the elements, right? Because you're still gonna see where the gun is in the original picture. And once you get your scene, stuff you wanna make a screenshot of, we'll go to environment and we'll change the weather and the lightning to the way we want it to be. I like a little bit of overcast, but this is a bit too misty. And you can change the fog as well. This is new. You can change the fog here. But there is a bug for me where this doesn't work for me anymore. And I don't know why. So if it's not working for you, it's a bug. They're probably looking at it or looking at fixing it. Same goes for... If we go to camera, the FOV, it doesn't work for me. Or here, the tilt doesn't work for me either. Even the view distance. Don't know what it is. But I'll definitely recommend you keep updating the DayZ editor so that when they fix this, you have the current version, and it should work smoothly. I quite like how it looks now. Then we go to camera, change the exposure. I like to have it a bit more bright, not too much. And you can only get a perfect picture by just practicing and doing this multiple times and moving sliders until you're satisfied. with what you got. Maybe we want to have some blur in the distance. I usually don't do this anymore, actually. Yeah, no, I don't want to have any blur. But this is the picture I want to go with for the background. I make a screenshot of all my monitors that way. Then we'll open Photoshop. And then we choose a new file. We'll go for 1920 by 1080 because that's the resolution you need for a thumbnail. But if it's not here, right, if it's not a safe preset, you can go to web and it should be here. Or just change the resolution to 1920 by 1080. As long as you got that, then you should be good. Other than that, I don't change much here. I'd like to change the background to transparent. 8-bit, I keep that on 8-bit. RGB color, I keep that on RGB color. So we paste our picture in and with Ctrl-V. And then we can just move it around the way you want to until it looks good. Make it a bit bigger. I want that mountain to be a bit more higher up in the screen. Something like so, maybe a bit more to the right, because I want me to be here. I like to have it on all thumbnails where myself is on the left and the gun is like on the right, so that it keeps it clear, like it keeps it clear across all thumbnails. That way it looks organized. But it's all personal preference, of course, like whatever you want. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get ourselves a gun, right? We want a cool gun in the thumbnail. So I'm gonna search for my character. As you can see in the search bar here, you can search for that. And then you can click right mouse button and place it. And we go control, oh, it's already good. Okay, well, editor, edit, inventory. And we're not gonna see our face really. So the only things I really change is like the things you see when I'm holding the gun, because we're gonna make this like look like first person when we're holding the gun. I'll go with the red down jacket, yes. And I want to have gloves because it's a cold map, right? It makes sense. Don't want to have the same colors as the background because you want it to pop out, right? So don't choose green and don't choose white because it's just gonna blend in. Choose a bit more brighter colors. This is basically it. The only things will change. The jacket and the gloves. That's the only things we'll add. And then we'll add a gun. And I would like... I think I'm gonna go for the asphalt. And this is where you can change all your assets on the gun, right? Like the scope. And like the mag, like to go with an ACOG, and then we'll press escape, and then we'll go and click left button on our character control, and now I cannot move around my character. That's a bug. It can be a bug sometimes. You press home again and controlling character again, and you should be fine. As you can see, we got the gun, but there's no mag. There's no mag in it. What we do is double tap R, and that should show up the gun. It's a bug, but that's the way to fix it. And now we just need to think about the way we want to have our gun shown on the thumbnail. I think I like to have it this way. Press home. Then we fly back to where our character is. Press Y so we remove all the UI. And if you hold Alt and move back and forth, you go slower, a bit slower. The downside is for some reason I can't change the speed because that's bugged for me too. It's really tricky to get it right. I think something like this looks cool. We don't want it to fit the whole screen, but then again we can resize it a little bit in Photoshop. Then we press Ctrl-V again, Ctrl-V, and resize it. Ctrl-T is the way I select an object, right, to resize it, and then Ctrl-V is how I place it. And Alt and scroll is the way to zoom in and to zoom out. Now we got our gun. I like to put the opacity down for a bit to see where it will land. Looks cool. Once again, it's a bit too big, right? Because we still want to have our character, and you want to see the background a little bit as well. So we're gonna resize this a bit, like so, and then we're gonna cut it out. We cut the objects out with the pencil, so we click on the pencil here and it will give us, it should be the right one, the first thing is the pencil. And then you just right click and you make a selection all around the object. We just do it all the way around. I'll be right back when this is done. And if you can't see it, all right, you can just zoom in a bit with Alt and scroll, right? And if you made the mistake, let's say you make like a mistake here where you put a bit too less or a bit too much, you can just click Ctrl Z and it will reverse the action you made. So we go all around our gun. So once you're done with putting out around your gun, close the selection by clicking the start point. Click in the point where you started, then left mouse button, make selection. You don't have to change anything here, and then it will select the object. Make sure you selected the layer where the gun is on. Press Ctrl G, and there we go. There's our gun. Now we can delete the original layer. Keep it nice and clean over here, right? Only have the layers in here that you're actually using. One thing we should still do is cut stuff out, like in the gun, like over here we got a little spot, and over here. There we go. That already looks pretty cool. Quite like how this looks. And now we just need to get our face. We got the background, we got the gun. Now we just need our face. Yeah, if you have a camera, now's the time to use it. I use NVIDIA Broadcast to make a picture, but you can also use your standard camera software, right? And select your camera in there. Now it tells me like, oh no, your camera is already used in a different program, which it is. Thing is, I don't have it plugged in now, so I'm gonna do that. And there we have it. There we have the camera. Now, depending on what you have, right, this is really a dark image. So I would suggest you have some lighting. You can use natural light outside of your window, right? You can use a ceiling light even. If you don't have that, we can still adjust this in Photoshop. For me, I got a studio light. So I'm gonna put that on. And that's already better. So now I have to look you guys in the eyes. It's gonna be awkward, but yeah, I need to, I'm not looking directly at you guys. I need to make a picture and I need to look into the camera. Think about what kind of emotion you want to showcase, right, in the thumbnail. You want to be happy, you want to be angry, you want to be, I don't know, surprised. For me, I want to be, I think I want to be happy and like showing like, hey, this is how you make it, like pointing that way. So I need to picture in which way I'm looking by looking at the NVIDIA capture I have here and then looking into the camera. So yeah, here we go. And then I go and overview my picture, see if I like it. Thing is, it's horizontal. I need to point the other way. There we go. That is it. This is it. Perfect. So once you got your picture, just drag it in Photoshop and size it to the way you want it to be. And I think I want to have it like this. I then turn the opacity down to look again on how the position is. I think that's all right. You can still see the background as well. So that's good. And then I'm gonna once again cut around the whole character, just the same way we did before with the gun. Make another selection by selecting the beginning to the end again. Ctrl G, delete the background, and there we have it. That's basically all the elements we need for to make thumbnails. Once again, you got some spots in between you gotta cut out, like this bit over here and over here. And there we go. So now the only thing, there's still a couple things we need to do. We need to position this myself. All right, I think I'm gonna keep it like this. First thing I like to do is work on a character, because that's the most, or myself, right? Because that's the most important thing you're gonna see from a distance, right? You're gonna see the face the most. What I like to do is I like to select the character, and I like to select this thingy. I don't know what the name is of it, but it makes you select a element and only takes the selection, right? So now if you do mouse button what I just did and then release it, you select the area you want to change, In my case, I'm going to change this area. I like to go to filters. I like to go to camera raw filter. And I like change certain things in here, like the exposure, the lighting, the temperature, coloring, all of that. So I like to give myself a little bit more exposure. But then again, you can see there's like a rough lightning edge over here. Like it's really bright. I like to reduce that. And I do that by removing the whites a little bit. Mostly the highlights actually, and get the whites a little bit more up again. I like to remove a little bit of black as well. A bit less shadows. A bit of contrast. A bit cooler temperature maybe because there's no mask, right? It's just toying around and looking and taking a step back and looking at it until you're satisfied with it. What I would not suggest is you put the sliders all the way up or all the way down, right? Or just little bits, like 2 or 3%, usually does the trick. And then we can make our image sharper by changing the texture here a little bit. Just like so. And once again, with Alt and scroll, we can zoom in and zoom out. And I like to have a little bit more red in my skin tone to make it a little bit more colorful. I'm basically also just toying around with it. I'm learning every day with this guy, so it's just not like I know everything. I like to sharpen it a lot most of the time because it makes it so you can see a bit more from the distance, right? It makes it a bit more high quality, but also I don't want to have too much noise. So as you can see, I'm doing it along with the noise reduction so that it blends in well. But then again, you also should not make it have too much noise, because then, or too much noise reduction, because then it makes it like all the way flat like this. And this is the most important part. This is what really changes it, makes it a bit more red. And once you're satisfied with it, you press OK. And if you don't like it, you can just click on cancel or change some stuff around still. But you can always click on cancel and it will just reset it back to what it is now. But here's the difference. If I press OK, there you go. A bit more sharper, you know? But it can still be better. Now we're gonna go over to the lighting of our object. Gonna add another layer. We're gonna put it underneath our character. And we're gonna change our coloring to white. And we click on the brush tool. And let me reset this. This needs to be that. I like to use, why can I not show you guys the presets? Oh, here. I like to go to general brushes and I'll always use soft round as a brush. And I like to have the opacity all the way up, the floaty all the way up for this one, for the drop lightning. And then I like to just lightly go around our character. Just lightly. So that creates a little bit of light around our character. And the way you can change the size of your brush is by clicking these brackets. I'll show them on screen because I don't know what they're called actually in English. Now this is way too bright, of course. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use soft light, and then we're gonna adjust the opacity of this layer until it looks right. I think this is all right. It's a little difference as you can see, but it does the trick. We got that. Then we go above our layer again, add another layer. And then if we hold Alt and click on our character, we can select it. And now we're going to lightly brush around the edges of our object. Lightly, have a slight lighter glow around our character to make it so it blends in a bit more. And then we can deselect it with this tool, put it on minus. Just go over, you deselect the character. Now this is way too bright, of course, again. Now we select the layer and we go to overlay or soft light, one of the two. It just depends on what looks best. Sometimes I like soft light better, sometimes I like overlay better. We go for soft light and then we change the opacity again until we think it looks good. Then we click our character go to adjustments, brightness and contrast. We'll create a brightness and contrast layer. Then we hold Alt and it will give us this arrow icon when we hover over layer. Right click so it links this effect to this layer, and then you can see two sliders up here with the brightness and contrast, and it does literally what it says, the brightness and contrast. It changes it. Gonna change that a little bit. And then I like to do some hue and saturation. Once again, adjustments, hue and saturations, add another layer, hold Alt, it will add it to this layer, and we're changing the saturation just a little bit, not too much, because we already changed a bunch in the camera raw filter. Now we're gonna add another layer. Once again, select a character. There's another lightning layer, and we go over to, we're actually gonna change this layer to linear dodge add and change the opacity to around 20. And now we're just gonna brighten up, make the light spots even lighter. Our eyes, like so, and around here. There we go. That really looks so much better. I think I actually don't want to change the opacity on this one so far. Yeah, I think I'm gonna actually, because it looks off on some places. So we just go to overlay or soft light. Soft light again. Let's just go soft light all the way. So now we got all our lightning done on this character. As you can see, it creates quite some difference. Just subtle. Now we're just going to change the coloring on the character as well, though. Because I want to have my eyes pop a bit more, my lips, my hair, you know, the reds. I want to have the reds pop a bit more as well. The skin tone. Basically, no, not everything, but quite some bit. We change the color to blue. Once again, with the brush tool, we go over our character and you select our character again with Alt. And then we just brush our eyes in, but before we do, change the mode again back to normal and opacity to 100. And just brush in where you think all your blue or green eyes, or you know, whatever color your eyes you have. Just brush in the spots you think that are blue. And then we go over here and change it to overlay and change the opacity until it fits. Get another layer. This time we're going to do the lips. And if we hold Alt, we get this little color pick tool. Once we have the brush selected, we just go over until we find a color that fits. And we hold our right mouse button and that will show you what color it is. So the above color is the color it is in the area, and the color underneath is the current color you have selected. Yeah, I just like to go for that color and then change it a bit more brighter pink. Brush it in, do some lipstick. Yes, it's true, it's confirmed, I do lipstick. There we go. Then we go over to, you guessed it, soft light, bit too purple. That looks good. Get another layer. And now we go for our headset and put that all the way to red. Once again, select the color like this, right? With Alt and right mouse button. Change it all the way to red and we brush it in. Soft light, change the opacity until it looks normal. And then we get another layer. We go for our hair. And once again, it's just the same process. Do the color with selection again with the color selection tool thingy. I forgot what the name is. I like to give myself a bit more reddish hair. For some reason it just matches the best. Brush this all the way in. Might as well brush our beard in. If you don't have a beard, you don't have to do that, of course, but I'm guessing you already know. Then we go to overlay this time and we change the opacity because, I mean, this is it's literally orange. Like 12, 15. Looks good. And another layer. This time we're going for our skin tone and we change this color. Brush this in. There you go. We go soft light and we change the opacity until it looks good. I think is this. And then we basically got our character done. And now we just need to do our gun and our background. So for our gun, I like to do something similar. We choose the brightness and contrast again. Only select our gun by pressing Alt again with the arrow. Maybe a little bit of contrast. I like to do some hue and saturation as well. Crank up the saturation a little bit. And then again, I like to add a bright glow in the background. And I like to put that soft light, another glow around the edges of our gun. Alrighty, and put that on. I think we'll put this one on overlay. Change the opacity until it looks good. And I like to add some linear dodge as well. Go to brush, go to linear dodge, and change this to about 19 and just brush in the light spots. Basically, there you have it. And I like to select it as well and then go over here and check sharpening tool, sharpen the gun a bit as well so you can see a bit better from a distance. That's basically it. Now only thing I need to do is change the brightness and contrast on the background so that it fits a bit with the rest of the image. Change the saturation, and I like to add a little drop shadow around the edges, and I forgot to change the opacity to 100. Just like this. There you have it. That's how I make my thumbnails. I almost forgot. So you go to File, Export, Save, Export As. I like to have JPEG because that's the highest resolution it can be in. Export it, and you just name it something. In this case, I call it Namalsk, and I already have some Namalsk, so I just call it Namalsk 5. If you want to see how the thumbnail looks on internet, right, on YouTube, you can go to your search bar and you can go to, what is it, thumbsup.tv, drop your image in here, which in my case is Namalsk 5. Makes it so you can see how it looks, if it looks good, if nothing is in the way, if all the elements are shown right. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Like I said, I'm probably going to make a PUBG thumbnail soon, and maybe a Battlefield 6 as well, but depends if I'm going to play it loads or not. Hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. I also post the DayZ Editor Discord in the description, so if you have any feedback or any questions about the mod, bugs that you want to report, you can join the Discord. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. See ya. Bye.